Yeah, it is. The 80% rule. Is it on point or what? Afro Economics Live. I'm JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer of JB Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics. It's electric. Woo! Come on. It's 8 o'clock. I was about 30 seconds early. You got to be early. That's right. I hope y'all are ready to get prepared for the future. We're preparing for the future. For some people, actually don't want to work. Yeah, that's what I do for a living. Help people get out of that workplace. Yeah. And if you plan it correctly, you really can. You really can get out of there. You really can get out of there. And it might not cost as much as you think. And that's where that 80% rule comes in. And that's my topic tonight. Like, is that 80% rule, is it true? Weeda, is it true or not? Yeah. Is it true or not? I see, look, Weeda, you got company in there. He didn't even join yet. He all up in the house. Look, he's gonna join soon though. Exactly. He's gonna join soon. I recognize the email address. I'm not gonna call him out. Yeah. It's like, how you doing, Kanika? Yeah, you in the house. You in the big house. Yes, you are. You in the big house. That's the members lounge. You in the members lounge. That's right. The members lounge. Yes, indeed. That's a big house in there with Miss Davis. Yes, the Miss Davis. We are talking. Yeah, Kanika's gonna be in there soon too. Soon she's gonna be signing up too. We're talking about how we're going to look, Miss Davis. If I hit like, and we're streaming live, and then Kanika, did you download the app onto your phone? We have the free app on your phone, and I got the notification, and it said that it's streaming live soon. Look, and then I went in and I did something. So the website like keeps telling me I have to look, keeps telling me, do you want to chat? Like every time now it's like the chat live is like getting carried away. So I'm like, oh, if I shut that down, it brings that down. Guess I don't want to do that. So the I'll bring it back up so I'll have something to look at behind me. But but it's not gonna keep dinging all night, I hope. I might have to go in there and say something. But I if you the live the I want you to go and download onto your smartphone. I don't know if you've even done it, Miss Davis, that you have let me see. It's coming back. Look at you. I see you. Yeah, we got it back up. But that's where the noise is coming from. When you go in. So I went in there today and I was like, why doesn't it ask for a phone number? So is there a way? So I sent the service provider a message and I was like, can I edit this to ask for a phone number when the person sends me an email from the website chat? Because you're leaving a message, but when I reply to the email, sometimes you reply, sometimes you don't. And then I was like, a phone number would be easier because then I could ask my assistant to call you and you'll respond a little bit easier. Oh, Kanika says she struggles with technology. But love, you stay with Afroeconomics, and you will not struggle with technology. Because I have brought people from not having a computer all the way to getting a computer, teaching them to log in, coming into Zoom, doing personal meetings with me, and everything, and being in their 60s and 70s. So that and you're way younger than that. So we got this. How you doing, Miss Davis? All dressed up today. Look, at least it didn't take off. It didn't take me down. I'm so glad it didn't take me down. Don't say anything. Don't even worry about it. Just relax. Good. I'm gonna put you back into the spa room. You look fantastic. So we're going to I want to go into my notes because I have some news I want to make sure that you all are aware of, so that we'll have it into our video library, and we will have it recorded, because I was like, let me make sure that I share this tonight, that our President Biden will nominate Michael Barr to the Federal Reserve's top reg as the well, he will nominate Michael Barr to be the top Federal Reserve's regulator for the big banks. He's going to be the boss of the Federal Reserve. He's going to be in control of all the big banks. Um, Barr served as the Assistant Treasury Secretary for financial institutions during the Obama administration. So look up Michael Barr, and that is, yes, the office number ringing, because I have it simul ringing. It follows me wherever I am. So I'm in the studio. That is the office number ringing. And then I'm like, who is that calling? Y'all know I'm on the air. So look out for Michael Barr, and he says that a major thing that he is working on, or he wants to address, is increased scrutiny of the crypto industry and the risk that it poses to the U.S., I guess. So look out for changes in the regulation of that, the crypto and crypto presence. So that's going to be interesting, and it's something that I have shared with you all over the years, that that I was expecting increase in regulation. So I don't if you are exposed in that area, or you have family that is exposed in that area, tell them to look into that. And especially, he has quotes for what they were referring to as stable coins. He says that he believes that Congress should work expeditiously on looking at legislation to address those stable coins. And stable coins are a form of the cryptocurrency that is calling itself stable coins. And so research it farther. Be happy to join Afroeconomics if you want more of my view, more my stance on that, and the moving forward. But know that I am a licensed, regulated financial advisor. So know that I am definitely against it, because I'm so heavily regulated that um, I'm the I'm basically with him. I'm regulated by him. So yeah. So the how you doing, Mr. Ramsey? How you doing, Miss Go Lightly, my sister Renee? Yes, indeed. I do. Look at this. What? Um, and I checked it out before you go like, and you will check it out before you go. The app. Good job. Yes, indeed. We're gonna make sure Ms. Go Lightly checks it out too. I know she's interested in tonight's topic. She is Miss Retirement Planning herself. She knows she's way too young to be thinking about retirement, just like Miss Davis. Them young girls don't need to be thinking about retirement. You know what they're thinking. Miss Howard, you way too young to be thinking about it too. All of y'all in here, way too young. But we'll just talk about it anyway. That's right. It's yes, you are. Yes, you are. Let's go. Go like yes, you are. Way too young. So the I so let's look at these. Look at I want look, you're like, look at it. Yeah, you can't see it, but let me share with you. So what brought this to my attention is that there's research on everything. So, University of Texas decided that they would do some additional research on, do people really need to save 80% or do they really need 80% of their pre-retirement income when they retire when they retire? Like, is that really the typical goal? Is that really what you should be shooting for? Is that really, you know, um, logical? Is that something that I should just silence this? Let's do that. Got it. Now I got it. Is that really something that the majority of people have to be concerned about? That when I retire, I'm going to need 80% of my current income. Now, the truth of it is that some people might, when they retire, might need more than what they're currently making, because I'm turning this because some of you might start talking and I need to see it up here. That some of you might need more than what you're currently making when you retire. Why? Because you might start doing something crazy, going to the casino all the time. So, because when you retire, you might actually have more time to go and do something, right, Ms. Wallace? You might have more time to go and do something. Now, I know that you're committed to taking care of your mother right now, but if you weren't taking care of your mom, imagine the amount of time now that you're not going to all those hours in work. Like, you could spend money all day long if you wanted to. Get on that motorcycle, go from stop to stop all summer, have breakfast here, go so and so there to do the just go. Just go. So you have to really, when you retire, have the discipline to say, well, I have all this time. Yes, tell it, girl, exactly. I have this time, but I have to make sure that I'm disciplined to watch out for my budget, right? So we're gonna base this conversation on the person who has a good budget and is not the wild retiree that decided that they stopped working and lost their mind. This is the retiree who stopped working and focused on a modest, reasonable lifestyle. Because, like, you can stop working and then start taking all of the trips that you ever imagined and spending way more money than you would spend if you were working, because you have all that time. So if you really, so we're talking about if you just retire and you're going to live within the same means that you were, and you're going to have that same budget, You're not gonna elevate. You're not gonna increase it. So um let's think, yeah, right? Take care of your big house, windows, roof. Woo! See, that could be a problem. That's what happened. Like when um the the pandemic, and you were staying at home more time, and then everybody started realizing things that you would have never noticed. It was like kind of like sitting in front of the mirror all day long, right? If you sit in front of the mirror all day long, you're going to like sit there and pick things apart about you. You're just going to sit there, and just break it down like, "Oh, this is wrong. Oh, that is wrong." If you have all of that time, but I didn't have much time to put on makeup. So I just had like 2 minutes, so I don't have that much makeup on. I just did like stuff I thought was really serious. Like, you know what I mean? Dots, but there's like basically no makeup on my face. Because I didn't have that much time to like put into it. But if I stood here and like really thought about it, then I would say, "Oh my God, how am I up here? I really should have put more foundation. Look at all my legs here." I would really like. So you sit there in your house, and all you're sitting there is thinking about, "Oh, look at that window. Oh, look at those curtains," and you're just sitting there critically thinking about it. Oh, you're going to lose your budget. Lose your, you're going to lose your budget. And look, but when I say that sometimes to people, they go, "No, no, 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 JB, I really need it. I really need it." But I really don't think that we really need it. Like, it is amazing how long you can stretch some things. I mean, and I know it sounds like really crazy to say this to some people who every time they have like a small need, they really have to address it. But like you don't, like, some things really don't have to be done right then. That where it like really sets you back in such a major way. And it really throws your entire plan off unnecessarily. But because you make it into such a bigger deal than it has to be, it you as you can't get it right. Like, yeah, like, yeah, I mean, and you did a fantastic job, Ms. Wallace, in like thinking that through, thinking that through. And you said, "I would like to get a new car this year, but I'm not." I mean, but you thought it through. So many people are so impulsive. They don't think it through. They're like, "I'm retiring and I deserve," of course you deserve it. Do you know how many things we deserve? This world cannot give us everything that we deserve. I mean, literally, if we functioned based on what we deserve, we'd all be crying because we don't have, you know what I mean? Anything, you know what I mean? Based on what we think we deserve, but through God's grace, Lord, we have absolutely everything we need. We have everything we need. I mean, literally, seriously, think about that. I mean, oh my goodness, we really do. We have more than what we need. And we just, the things that we overlook, and we don't go and look at that, how much money we can save if we just go and look at what we already have. Like, but when we need something, we'll just go and buy something else instead of just look at what we already have and use that. I was talking with someone the other day about that, like the things that we just buy, like, just go and buy some new clothes all the time. And really, people haven't even seen the clothes that you already have. They haven't seen it. And you're buying clothes over and over and over again. I don't know. I guess because you've seen the clothes, and you're tired of seeing them, but the clothes that you have are fine. They're fine. They're really fine. So, like, when it comes to, your retirement, you really don't need as much money in order to retire as you need. And there are so many people who need to retire, but they are convincing themselves that they have to continue to work because there's no way that they have enough money to stop working. And I was sharing with a gentleman yesterday, and I was saying that, maybe you need to adjust your lifestyle and focus on yourself and your health. Because he kept, talking about increasing your income, increasing his income, and increasing his income, and that increasing your income is fine, but not at the sacrifice of our health. And that being the 10th principle of Afroeconomics, Black health, Black wealth, that I think that all too often that we get to our end of our careers. And I remember, the doctor telling my father, Dr. Bryan, my dad was a PhD. Dr. Bryan, your kidneys are not functioning, and it's just getting worse and worse. And we really think that you really need to consider, stopping working, and it's time to stop working. And it was like really hard on my dad, really hard for him to consider stopping working. But that conversation was not new. The conversation was not new, and the health issue was about 20 years old. The health issue, the health concern had started at least 20 years ago. So when the health issue starts, is when our priorities have to shift. That's when the priorities have to shift. And you have to realize that maybe you don't need that 80%. Maybe you need to focus on, how can I reduce my expenses? Do I need, to spend the amount of money that I'm spending? Do I need this lifestyle that I think that I'm creating? Like one, person was telling me that I have to keep working because I have to do overtime. So I don't have time to go and talk to these doctors about these health issues that I have. And I can't take the time off that you're telling me I need to take right now. No. Uh, as Wallace said, most people want the full Social Security and shoot for that instead of getting it at 62. Not me, I want mine now. And if, if you live, if you live, because in these scenarios that I'm referring to, you're not going to live to get to that 70. If you do, your quality of life is so compromised that you have to factor in, was it worth it? Was it worth it, to, give up 3, 4 days a week now because you're connected to a machine. So it's just like going to work. You stayed at work and now you are basically still going to work. So that's something to really pray about. Sometimes work is costing you too much. Making the money can cost you too much. How much is it costing you to make the money? And that's what we need to sit down and talk about. Because the investment in your health, the investment in your health of being able to get up and walk an hour or 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon and 30 minutes in the evening and actually commit your day to taking care of yourself, you know what I mean, can extend your life so that the check that you start at 62 could continue until you're 100, could benefit you more than maybe if you waited until 70 but you passed at 80 because the years that you needed to take care of yourself, you were not. How much is it costing you? Yes, to make that money that you're not being able to do the balance that you need. And I believe that we can make that money and take care of ourselves if we adjust our mindset. If we adjust our mindset. But sometimes you have to get out and start over. Because sometimes you've created an atmosphere. Sometimes you have to just start over. Sometimes you just have to get out. I remember many of people who I have been able to help get out of, for example, early in my career, out of Philip Morris. And they are still my clients today and healthy. And they retired at ages younger than I am today. And I truly believe because they were able to get out and take care of themselves and made healthy choices for themselves and did good things for themselves. It's how you do it and the life that you choose. And we are still together to this day, almost 30 years later, that made a major difference in their existence today. But it is about the choices that you make. And did they get 80% of what they were making? No, most of them were doing overtime. Big money, overtime and everything. They had to adjust. But what? They didn't have to drive in. They didn't have to, buy gas, all that gas. They didn't have those expenses that were associated with going to work. They didn't have to worry about, the lunch or, dinner afterwards or hanging out, whatever habits, were associated, with working. They didn't have to, you know what I mean? Those expenses were cut. So there are expenses associated with working that are going to be reduced. And the more that you save as a saver, the more you are a saver. So the person who is saving while they're working say 20, 25% of your income, and you retire, you're already living off 75% of your income. So you're not even accustomed to 80%. So, you already are in the right zone. Now, a person who's not accustomed is always only saving 5% of their savings, but a person who has always been in Afroeconomics, has a saver's mentality, is not living off their credit card, has been planning for their retirement, has already been in a living below their means mentality. So you're not thinking about your taxable income as your retirement income. And as I was telling a lady today, that because that you're when you're working, for the majority of us, when you're working, you're making maximum income because you're trying to make that money, and then you're putting away as much money as possible pre-tax because you're trying to reduce that taxable income, because you know that when you retire, your income's going to be lower. Now, there are some people that when they retire, they're going to inherit a lot of money, but that's not most of us. So when a person walks up to me and they go, "Well, I'm doing the Roth IRA, because they told me I should do the Roth IRA," I always go, "Okay, I'm not their advisor." They generally look different than me. They are a different person. So they are going to give you different advice. Now, me, I relate, we're from, generally my customers are from the same culture. So I'm talking to them. I know them. I know if their mama's rich. I know if they're going to I talk to them. So I'm not just talking to you off some magazine article and telling you the same thing I tell everybody else that's rich and this and that, blah, 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 blah. But too many of us take that same Susie Orman advice that she's given to everybody, and you going around telling me and everybody else like you think you so smart. And then, you know what I mean? I got to try to correct my people. But you have to make sure that you think about your life, not some magazine article, something that's on TV or something, it's not relevant to you. That's not for you. You have to get a personal relationship with a financial advisor and make a plan for yourself. So you have to make a plan for yourself. Bottom line. Stop thinking some generic stuff you heard is some sort of secret code, and because you're not doing it, it must be great advice because it's secret and they doing it and you must be wrong. Why do we always think because you're not doing it that you're so wrong? You're not always wrong. How about maybe they're doing what's best for them, and maybe you could actually be doing what's best for you? There's no big secret. Everybody got to live their own life. That's it. That is it. There are so many things in this world. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. But you're saying we're not in the system generally. Yes, we are. We are in the system. We created the system. We built the system. We are in the system. And we have to learn the system. And matter of fact, the system wouldn't even exist without us. We pay more taxes than probably any other demographic group, our people, because we don't even understand the code enough to actually set it up properly, to do it. We don't listen to, you know what I mean, the people who are actually God given people like me sitting here trying to help us. We don't listen so that we can actually maximize the system that is designed for us to utilize. We stay outside of it, but it is designed for us to utilize, like the tax code. The tax code. Like, when Donald Trump said to Hillary Clinton, you designed the tax code. I use the tax code. Now you're mad at me for using the tax code? I mean, that was the most phenomenal statement I've ever heard. And then we get mad at him for using it. Makes no sense at all. Makes no sense at all. That is exactly what any logical human being is supposed to do. We are supposed to use the tax system correctly for us. But what do? We run away from it. We run away from it. I don't understand it. I don't know what I'm going to do. You know me? So millions of people go to someone else, pay to get a tax return done when it is absolutely free to do a tax return for millions of people. They had to go to H&R Block and make them give people money back because they were supposed to be free. And they gave them the money and made them give the people money back. But it was supposed to be free. They were like, we're giving you the money, H&R Block. H&R Block's like, well, they paid me anyway. So they're like, but we told you we're gonna pay you to do it for free. We said no. It is so easy. That's just an example. So no, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna allow us to say the system when we have been here from the beginning. This is my country. This is my country. I built this country. My descendants built this country. My country. This it. I'm not an immigrant. This it. I'm a descendant of slaves that built this. So this is my system. They owe me reparations. I've never gotten. People getting money back for school loans, and I still ain't get 40 acres and a mule. Nobody. And we're letting them do it. So that's that's something. I mean, they could do an executive order and give people back 20,000 and 10,000 and all this stuff, but they can't give nobody a horse and 40 acres. No, no, we can't do that. They know it's somewhere, but no, this is my system. This is my country, and we should and this is my tax code, and I'm gonna know it, and I'm gonna learn it, and I'm gonna keep learning it, and I'm gonna keep sharing it with you, and I'm gonna keep telling us how to maximize it, and I'm gonna keep telling us how to do it properly, and I'm gonna keep telling us, and I'm gonna keep making it free, and I'm gonna keep trying to help as many people as possible, and I'm gonna keep trying to encourage us to support my business so that I can help more people. And you can't help us, you can't make us, do it, but it is what it is, but it is what it is. But do we what I tell you, we don't really need to live off all the money that we have. I do believe that there's a lot of money that does get wasted. That's the bottom line, that we do waste a lot of money. And I think that if we really looked at while we're working, and I think that that is a really major point that needs to come home about the saver, that if a person is saving 70, 25% already while they're working of their income, they already are accustomed to living below their means. And they know that they don't need, their full salary once they stop working. So they can pull in their sources, their savings, their their retirement accounts, their social security if they're already eligible when they retire. People retire before 62. You know, that they that they will pull in their sources of income, that they can total about 60% according to the research study, and that they'll still be fine. The majority of people can retire at about 60% of their pay and be fine. But the challenge is that they run into unexpected expenses. The unexpected expenses can be a challenge. So, like we talked about that last week, of just, making sure that you realize that, you know, healthcare can be a challenge. So you might want to make sure that you have that type of expense taken care of. So 65 might be a goal for you, so that you have the Medicare by the time that you are retiring. Medicare at 65, or know that your employer has the insurance for you, or healthcare.gov, check on the premiums for that. And the premiums for that are what? Healthcare.gov are connected to the income. So then also, if you're at retirement age, once you start getting your Social Security and Medicare, your checks that you're receiving are not going to be taking out for Social Security and Medicare. So your check's going to be a little bigger, right? And your income tax is going to be lower because your income is going to be lower generally. So the income you're bringing in is lower. So your withholding is going to be lower. So you're going to, have more money in your hand. But you said, Kanika, the entire economy is based on consumerism. No, my daughter was telling me about Netflix is switching to a plan that's going to have, well, not switch, but they're going to have an option that has commercials now. And I was like, all these channels or apps and stuff are just turning into television again. So it's like everybody switched from television to these apps. I'm glad I didn't. But they have all these apps. And then now all the apps are turning into the same thing as television, as cable. So it's like, what a joke. What a joke. What a joke. So retirees or pre-retirees, focus on determining what expenses will diminish in retirement, right? Like, if you're going to move in with family, or if you're going to move in, you and your sister or brother or your mom are going to be living together. So you're not going to have your mortgage anymore or your rent anymore. Consider that you're going to have, your bills are going to go down a lot if you're going to do that. What is going to go down? What are your expenses going to go? That would be nice. And if you could do something like that, wouldn't that be a blessing? And remember that don't. And I have a a client that really was challenged with this. With She was so accustomed to saving that even when she got a part-time job during her retirement, she still wanted to save. Oh, and I was like, you don't have to save for your retirement while you're in retirement. You're retired now. And she was like, well, I don't feel right. And I wanted to say, well, if you don't need the money, don't work. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, but this is the time of life that you've saved for. There's some point you're in retirement, be in retirement. Like, this is it. This is it. Enjoy it. Reduce your hours, work less, reduce the income. But Lord knows, no, don't keep saving. Enjoy your life so that like, don't enjoy it. All you're gonna do is like put it in there and then pull it back out. 'Cause by the time you get to 70, the government is gonna require that you take it out. So there's a required minimum distribution that starts at 72. And I had a client, and she called me today, and she was like, I says, a family member called me today, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, are you doing your so and so to such?" Her brother was asking her if she was doing her required minimum distribution. She was like, "I don't know what he's talking about. Am I doing it?" And I was like, "Yeah, you doing it. You started last year." And she was like, what are you doing? I was like, "Yeah, it's going to your bank account." And she said, "Really?" And I said, "Will you tell these people to leave you alone?" Because the year before that, like, your accountant was checking on something else, or the COVID year. And I said, "Can you tell him that you don't have to take it this year because of COVID? And plus, the age was increased to 72 or something like that." Whatever. I was like, "Look, you tell these people that you work with JB Bryan and I got you. Then when this happen again," I said, "Will you tell them they need to get a funny, they need to get an advisor, or better yet, call JB Bryan, because obviously something's wrong." "But I got you." And she was like, "Thank you so much." But it was funny because I just was really glad, like, that we just had her stuff together. 'Cause I was like, "God, thank you, thank you, thank you." But she was so nervous, she made me nervous. And I was like, "Oh, oh, oh." I was like, "Oh, oh, yeah, you're good, you're good." I was like, "Yeah, we did that last year." But it was funny. It was She called from the accountant that time, and the accountant was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, you don't have to take it out this year." I said, "But the age was also increased." So that was like, so two things. But yeah, he was like, "Oh, I didn't even know that." So what did you say, Kanika? Stop literally buying. Yeah, yeah. But people choose to do, yeah. And when yeah, you gotta live your own life. You gotta live your own life. Everybody is just, gonna, you never know how God is gonna play it all out, but it's all in God's hands. It's all in God's hands. You gotta, just trust Him and keep moving forward and never give up. Never give up and never give up. I don't know how many times, that I've just had to tell myself to just keep going. Just keep going. I was just, amen. I was just telling my husband this morning, I was just telling him just how thankful I am, for his just support, like, just his just positive attitude. Like, he's just never doubted me. And it just makes such a difference, just to have, positive attitude, like, yeah, just positive support. And you just keep moving forward. I mean, I shouldn't say like he's never doubted me, because I know sometimes he's looked at me like she's crazy. You know what I'm saying with us? But he's never verbalized it. He's looked at me like he's doubted me. but he's never verbalized it. So, but he might have been, but he's never said it. And he's always, he's kept the faith and God is good. But I just thank God for him. I thank God for him. He's never said, girl, you crazy. And it really makes a difference. Like, because you just have to keep the faith. And he's just like never folded. This is never folded. And when you're an entrepreneur, you just have to keep going. You have to keep going. Mm, mm, mm. Oh, thank you, Kanika. I do. I do. I do. I do. I thank God for him, and then and I realize like that it's not easy for our men to be um in just it's just not easy for our men. And it's not easy for us, but it's just not easy for our men to live in this world, and um I try to always keep an eye on myself, like, and realize that um to check myself, check myself first. Because we just live in a world that kind of always thinks that, women I'll always get the benefit of the doubt. And our men very rarely get the benefit of the doubt. And I don't really like that. Like, and I feel, so I always want to check myself, and I always want to be kind, and I want to pray, and make his life as easy as possible. And and that's very important to me. Very important to me. And I thank God I get it back. Yo, day by day, day by day. So all we can do. So the because whew, life, right? And then so when when we're talking about like retirement, new retirements, new retirees like might find it harder for them to just get comfortable living on less, but it's very important for them to adjust and adjust very quickly, because it's the discipline becomes really important for them. And it says a recent Employee Benefit Research Institute survey found that over a third of retirees report spending more than they had originally expected. And it said only 9% reported that they were spending less than they expected. So that that's something that we really need to be careful with, that if you say this is what I'm going to live off of, you have to stick to the plan. No, the and then a 2013 study from Morningstar noted that a retiree household's inflation adjusted spending usually dips at the start of retirement, bottoms out in the middle of retirement, and then increases towards the very end. That's probably like near death, huh? That's the end of retirement. The So a retirement budget is very important, but like trying to plan for those like that increase of probably like the long-term care expense that might happen, that would be the hard part. Like how if I need um some sort of nursing facility or a nurse to come in or something like that. Like, how would I take care of that increase, that expense? How would I take care of it? And we can talk about that because I, do address that. There's ways that we can do that and take care of that. And Ms. Golightly said, yeah, you gotta go into retirement with the right mindset. Indeed, says the and the mindset is everything, really, right? And that discipline, like because people will think like that you won the lottery because you retired. They're like, oh yeah, she retired, like, and they, and especially if you do it, like if you have a party or something like that. Like if you have a party, they're just like, oh yeah, she's coming to some money or something. So I mean, and you want to celebrate it, but I don't know, like maybe you don't. Yeah, and then yes, indeed, Kanika said, be debt free. Um, that would be really important. The And it's so hard to manage, like, because Medicare is doing a horrible job of covering expenses. Like, there's so much more out of pocket stuff that Medicare is not covering. Like, how can they, like, expect people to just come up with stuff? Like, I had one client, like, he was telling me he got an infection and he needed two pills and they were like $2,000. I mean, he had the money, but it's like he had the money, but it shook him. Like, wow, $2,000 for some pills? Like, what I mean? He's a retiree from corporate America. I was like, and then they ended up like still amputating both legs. That costs a lot, exactly. It was like, but trip is like, you still amputate the legs? They probably should have like put him on like IV and just put him in the hospital, and they probably wouldn't have lost the legs. You're sending him home with tablets, and then he still ends up losing the legs. $2,000 tablets. It was probably malpractice, really. But and I see like so many negligent things now. Like we have to be so on top of stuff and communicate with each other so much that that if there's somebody listening and they're going through a process, please talk to your family about what you're going through. Like, if you're thinking about retiring, please talk to me or talk to someone that you trust. Don't just retire. Don't just accept the forms. Don't just leave because you're frustrated and I'm tired of being here. Like make sure that you're ready and that you have your money straight, because a lot of employers, like I've had this happen to clients, like they want to get you off books, and they will push you out the doors just to get you off so that they can hire somebody else and get them in. And then you're sitting there, you've given up $100,000, and then you're getting your pension check now, at a before you were ready for it. And sometimes they don't even have insurance for you, and you didn't plan it, and then you call me, and then you call me, and you didn't get everything straight before, or they'll fire you wrongfully to get you out of the picture. And honestly, I've had that happen to a client, and I said, we're going to fight this. And we fought it and won. And she got the money, and we didn't even get a lawyer involved. So you really can do this, but you're gonna have to talk to me or somebody. And if you have the money, get the lawyer involved because the you got you know what I mean? You gotta do because it's like if you're not ready, make them push you out. Cause don't go until you're ready and prepared. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. You got to plan this thing. Y'all feel me on this? Plan properly. Yeah. And so when I'm saying, oh, you don't need 80%, I'm not saying like you don't need, you know what I'm saying? You only 80%. So, you can get out of there with 20. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, forget it, let's go. Like, I'm saying that you might not need as much as you need, but as much as you think you need, but and you might need to go. Yes. But having a plan can bring you comfort, but we have to get a plan. We have to get a plan. But we do need to get out. I mean, I'm telling you, once you have a plan, you will feel so much better than just sitting there feeling like you're stuck. And I can't do it. I can't do it. And there's no way, I have to take this and this and that. Like, no, you don't. You don't. You don't have to take it. All right. There's better ahead. So the if you want more on the 80% rule, just go to the website, click the live chat, and put your phone number in there or call me directly at 1-844 JBBRYAN JB Bryan or 1-844-522-7926 or email me JB at jbbryan.com or JB at afroeconomics.com. Just make sure you get to me. And our members only meeting is Friday morning, every Friday morning at 9 and Friday at noon. We'll have our entrepreneurship or our Black Health, Black Wealth. This Friday is Black Health, Black Wealth. We're focusing on health and continuing to and tonight we touched on how important the connection between health and wealth and how health can cut off our wealth years and our ability to continue to grow our wealth. So we want to stay as healthy as long as possible, and you can, and you really can. So the 80% rule is just a guideline, and it refers to the 80% that retirees are shooting for, that 80% of your final year's gross income, not your net pay, that not the pay after taxes. So the difference between your gross income and the money that you make after the withholdings of your taxes. So let's talk about that in detail when we have our one-on-one meetings. So thank you so much for your comments, y'all. You're so good. You're so good. I'm right here. I'll be right here for a second too. Y'all so good. Oh, you're so good. I love you, sis. Thank you, Renee. Ooh, I love you more. Oh, what you so? You want to say something, don't you, Miss Davis? You want to say something? Huh? You can talk. I can't hear you. Okay. Have a good night. Look at you. I see you, Mr. Newell. Have a good night. Good night.
no. Okay, there we go.
I see. All right.
Yeah,
See, I,
I'm in the office tonight.
uh,
It's a little bit difficult for me tonight. All right. See you
good
Friday.
night. Bye
All right.
bye. Bye bye. Good night. Y'all be good. Oh, is an IRA better than a 401k? Let's talk about that, Ms. Reed. It depends. A lot of times they serve different purposes. They're just named after the tax code that they represent. But it really depends. You can't say one is better than the other because a 401k is a business account for your compensation pre-tax at work, and your IRA is your individual retirement account. So, but we definitely can talk about that. Um, don't hesitate to reach out. Great question. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And some at some point in your life, sometimes people have, both. Both, and sometimes they'll have a 401k, and later in their life, they might just have their IRA. You know, great question. Thank you. Have a good night. You're welcome. Good night, Mr. Jefferson. Thank you. Hope to. Bye bye.